folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you for stopping by and watching. And if you're new to the channel, if you don't mind, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the little bell out to the side. That way you can get notifications of when I post a video. And I do so just about every day. I try to put up 5 or 6 a week. And then I put up a few, 3 or 4 a week, and a few other posts over on the Patreon page, which you can find that in the description below. Today we're talking about Civil War, which we've talked about before. It's even been talked about in the mainstream news, financial markets, experts are talking about it. It's all over the internet. So we're gonna kind of look at it and figure out if it's something that is it gonna affect us, especially those of us that live out here in the sticks. Before we get started, are you prepared for it? I mean, have you got your preps in order? Are you mentally prepared? Are you physically prepared? Do you have the mindset to handle the things that are lay ahead of us, whatever they might be? One of the things that a lot of people forget in preparing for whatever is medicine. And we talk about prepping up and saving up medicine, stockpiling it, but it only has a certain lifespan, and it's kind of difficult. So another alternative is to learn natural medicine, herbal medicine. And I get a lot of people asking me about, well, what kind of book should I get? What's the best kind of book? There are thousands of books out there probably on herbal medicine, and many of them are really good. It's hard to just narrow down to like this one book is it. But I have a book that I would strongly recommend, that I think it's definitely one to get you going, and it's the Complete Medicinal Herbal, Practical Guide to Healing Properties of Herbs. This is a really good book. It's very easy to understand and read, so if you know nothing at all about herbs and natural medicine, how to use them, you'll be able to understand this. And if you're intermediate or even master level, this could be very useful. It has over 100 different plants and herbs in it that it lists, and there's a lot of colorful pictures, very good descriptions of them. Talks about the plant, what parts to use, and then the applications down below. Like I said, there's over 100 in here, so it's very detailed, and at least enough detail. And one of the things that I like is that it talks about both Eastern and Western medicine. It includes Chinese herbs and India and places like that, as well as Western herbal medicine, like from Native Americans. So it's a good blend of that. So you're going to find plants in here that grow near you, and you're going to find plants from all over the world. It also includes 250 different remedies for all different types of ailments, indigestion, gallstones, iron deficiency, high cholesterol, dandruff, hair loss, fungal infections, and how to treat those. This book, I think, is a must for preppers. It's around $16. It's about $1 cheaper with the link that I'm going to give you than it is over at Amazon. And you're not giving your money to Amazon. So there'll be a link below. It's through a company that I work with, My Patriot Supply. And if you follow that link, you can purchase this or any other of your prepping needs. Now, when you purchase this and you get it, don't just stick it on a shelf or throw it in a bug out bag or a tote or something like that with your stuff. Get it out, read it, learn how to use it, practice this stuff, start using it now, because herbalism really is a skill. Okay, I mean, you can teach it, you can learn it, but you don't really understand it until you're out there practicing it. It's a skill, so you need to use that. Don't wait until you need it to read the book. Get it out now and start working on it. And again, the link will be in the description below. Now, back to Civil War. I didn't bring anything to throw my book on, so I'm just going to toss it on the ground, because that's how we do it out here in the sticks. First off, let's just look at the description of a civil war. What does the word mean? It basically means groups of people within the same nation, within the same country, that are at war with each other. And of course, war is, combat and violence and using weaponry to fight against another person, another nation, another group of people over a particular issue. That's my definition, all right? So with everything that's happening right now, could it be considered a civil war already? I mean, there's a lot of people that's already saying, oh, civil war's coming. It's going to get so bad that we're going to have a civil war. But isn't it kind of already here? I mean, not everywhere, obviously. I mean, you know, most of America is fairly normal. You may be dealing with some pandemic lockdowns and stuff, which are happening all over again. If you've noticed that New York has increased theirs, and I'm sure there'll be many other states to follow. Several cities are extending their pre-existing lockdowns and mask ordinances. But most of America is functioning somewhat normal. You know, some shelves may be bare here and there. The stores may struggle to keep up with the things that they, you know, normally kept up on. But for the most part, it's normal, right? Sure. And so I think for a lot of us, especially those of us out here in the country, we're like, yeah, you know, it's not going to happen here. I mean, we're all armed out here. You know, they're not going to come out here in the small towns and out in the country and mess with us. We're all armed. Blah, blah, blah. I want to show you, I'm going to try this. I've never posted a video inside of a video. I'm getting all high-tech, guys and gals, okay? Cut me some slack here. I am going to try to we'll do it on this side, a video clip up here. This is in a town called Wolf City, Texas. If you haven't kept up in the news lately, a police officer shot and killed a man in that town. And I'm not going to go into whether it was justified or not justified. It looks like they're charging the guy with murder. But what I want to focus on is what's happening in that town. Now, this town is in Texas. It's in northeast Texas. It's considered just a bumpkin hillbilly town, right? It's about 1,500 population, an hour and a half or so from Dallas, Texas, northeast of Dallas. And I'm going to just go ahead and let this play. Now, yes, I have trimmed the video down just so that it wasn't a long video. But I want you to notice a few things. This is happening, in a small town, right? These small little towns that many of you live in or nearby, right? Because I don't think a whole lot of my listeners live in really big towns, at least the ones of you that comment. It seems that most of you live in small towns or out in the country. So this is a small town, and this is happening. I want you to notice, and it's Texas. Texas is a state that say they love their guns. They love their, you know, God, guns, and country, and family, and all that kind of stuff. But notice what's happening. You have a few people in this video that are armed, and the protesters, the rioters, are confronting them, and they obviously have no fear. Whoops, kicked the camera stand. They obviously have no fear of these people that are armed because they're not really backing away. And it appears that there's some people trying to keep them from, you know, really physically confronting them. But the point is they are aggressively moving towards these people that are armed. And from a legal standpoint, right then and there would be some justification of defending yourself. Now, how will district attorneys and state attorneys handle it? That's different because they're doing ridiculous things. They're charging people that it's obvious self-defense, and they're not charging people that have obviously broken the law. So forget about that for a moment. Let's just look at the letter of the law. When a large, overwhelming crowd of people are aggressively moving towards you, and there's been a precedent in history, recent history, of these crowds doing violent things, you could easily make a case of defending yourself against them. But there's not a lot of people that's out there with firearms. There's not a lot of people out there that appears to be, you know, just the regular citizens of the city. So where are all these, you know, patriotic Americans in this little town? You know, I don't know all the details surrounding how this scene happened, but there's surely got to be more people in that town that are willing to get out there and stand against this level of violence in their town. And then also, where's the police? Towards the end of the clip, I don't know if I'll get it in, but towards the end of the clip you can hear some sirens, so apparently the police are coming. But in a little town of 1,500 people, I understand there's probably not a lot of police there, but certainly they would know that this is going on, and this crowd of people was there before it got violent. So why aren't they there already? Now, let me get to my point of why I'm even showing you this. A lot of us feel or think that because we live out here in the country, and we may live in a red state, and everyone out in the country owns a gun, and everyone's patriotic, and everyone will, take and pry my gun from my cold dead hands, right? And yet, here's an example of a town that, where are those people? Where are the law enforcement? A lot of people say, well, the cops may be awful in these big liberal towns, but out here in my county, my sheriff and my local law enforcement, they stand up for us people. Where are they? Now, again, we don't know all the details of this little video clip. And there are certainly stories over the past few months of this type of thing happening in a small town and a different outcome, where there were a lot of people that showed up. There was one not too far from me here in Missouri, about an hour away. There was another one, I believe it was Idaho maybe, where they were either threatening to show up or did show up to protest in these towns, and they were met with an overwhelming odds of just armed people, just the citizens of that town. So it can happen. But what I'm saying here with pointing this out is that it doesn't mean it will always happen. So that cannot be your fallback plan, is that, well, because I live in the country, out in the sticks, or I live in this small rural farm town, that everyone's just gonna, it's like in it's gonna be like in the TV show Jericho. We're all just gonna band together and we're gonna fight the bad guys. Don't bet on it, okay? There are certainly a lot of people that would do that would come to your aid, or that would fight the last stand, that would rather die with their boots on than on their knees, right? But that's not everybody. And that is not a good backup plan to have. That's not a good plan at all to have, is to just know that your community around you, these people that you don't know, are going to stand. And it's also not a good plan to think that because you live out in the little rural town and out in the sticks, that this kind of violence is never going to come to you. Because I think as this progresses, as we near the election, as we near the inauguration, as we go through the second wave, as it just more and more stuff, I think we're going to start seeing more and more orchestrated, because it is, orchestrated outbreaks of violence. There's an aspect of this, I don't even know if I want to go into this video, it'd take too long, so I may just mention it just to see if anyone's curious, and then talk about it in another video, because it's just a lot to talk about. But I think it's interesting that these riots have been going on for so long, and there's not been a real escalation. There's a lot of things that they could do, a lot of guerrilla warfare that they could be doing to escalate this even more, and they're not, which is why I believe they are orchestrated. To me, that's not proof, but at least some really strong evidence indicating that this is being orchestrated, but that'll be another video. Anyways, sorry, I've been doing a lot of talking today, teaching the kids, and my voice is getting a little raspy. And I haven't had a drink of water in a while, and I need a cup of coffee again. We have to have our own plan to where we know that the people that, whether it's us or the people around us that we have vetted, that we trust, that we can depend on, are the ones that we're depending on putting our lives in the hands of. Not just the people that live around you. Now, they could come together and they could, fight off whatever happens, but you can't depend on that. And you can't depend that just because you live out in the country, it's not going to come to you. I think your odds are much, much better out in the country, right? I mean, out here, I'm much, much safer than I am if my family and I moved to Chicago, right? Of course I am. So I'm not saying just stay where you're at in the cities, but you have to do other things. You have to be more proactive than just saying, well, because I live here, I'm safe and I'm going to do nothing now. As this moves forward, and if it moves forward in the way that they say they want it to move forward, this isn't the way I think it will move forward. It's the way they say it will move forward. Between what they're saying with Agenda 21, with the Great Reset, and from the very mouths of the organizers of Black Lives Matter and Antifa and the far left, they are absolutely calling, even people like, Kamala Harris or whatever her name is, they are calling for an outright revolution, a complete revolution of America. They are calling for a communist revolution. Some of them are calling it that. Some of them aren't, and they're using some other politically correct word. But the fact is, that is what they are calling for. And if you do any history whatsoever, any research, you will see what a communist revolution actually means. And it's way worse than what we're seeing right now. So if that's what they're pushing for, if that is their end game agenda, to push for this great reset revolution, to unify the world under some Marxist New World Order ideas, then if that's the case, then yeah, we will see more increased aggression. We will see more violence. We will see more disruption and chaos, because that's how they do it. That's really the only real way for them to do it. Unless us, we, the other side, just kind of sit back and let it happen. So I guess that is the option. A lot of the left say that's it. They say that the right, that the conservatives are so pacified that we will just kind of sit back and let it happen. I hope and pray that's not the case. But know that when it actually starts happening, as it ramps up, it's not going to look like it did in the movies. It's not going to look like the Civil War. It's going to be everywhere. And right now we're at that period. I think the powder keg's been lit. Now, whether it's gone off yet or it's getting ready to, I guess that remains to be discussed. But I do believe it's been lit, and I don't think that there's anything that right now that can really stop it. But I think we're at the same place that we were during the Revolutionary War and during the Civil War. And if any of you history buffs know about those, you know that in the beginning, the majority of the people, especially the more well-to-do people, but everyone, they didn't have any clue that those wars were actually going to be fought in their backyard. They had this idea that they were going to be these far-off battlefields. In fact, there are stories of some of the initial battles where the people around would come out and they would have picnics on the hillside to look down in the valley and watch the battles being taken place, because they thought it was, this is just entertainment. It's just these men are just going to go out there and shoot each other for a while, and then it'll be over and we'll all go home and everything will be fine. But soon after, the people realized that this is a bloody mess. This is way more than a Sunday little picnic on the hillside. And they finally had reality slap them in the face. And that's what's going to happen here in America. Because right now, that's what we think. Oh, we're fine in our little suburbs. We're fine in a little house. We're still going to work. We're just kind of watching it on the news and watching it on the internet. It's only happening over there in those big crazy lib cities. They're just nuts. That's where it's happening. It's not really going to affect us. It's just entertaining to watch. Someday, it's going to be happening pretty close to home. And your children are going to see it. They're going to learn of this war with their own eyes. They're going to learn of it with what they see, not with, just reading about it in some history books. It's coming. It's been coming for a long time. And I think personally we've been pushed past the point of no return. So do your part and getting yourself and your family ready and building those connections with everyone that you can around you, so that you're not entering this alone. It's not something you should be doing alone. All right, folks, I will have more on the alone part and how we connect soon. I'm working on a plan, and I'm working on some content to help bring us together more than just watching a video and commenting. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.